Instagram's live, few people jumping on. Cool. YouTube's live, Facebook's live. Right, we're going to get straight into it. We're not going to hang around. I do apologise to anyone that was watching the live before. Everything just had a complete arsehole. I've probably just made up a sentence there. But it all went tits up and everything shut down. Hopefully it's not going to happen this time and we can actually get into this properly. Yeah. And I can deliver some fucking value to you guys. Right. Shall we hit record? We will get straight into this. Guys watching on the live, just leave me an emoji in the comments so I know that you can hear me and you can see me, please. And anyone watching on a replay, give me a hashtag replay. Right, let's hit record. Let's get going. What is happening? Welcome back to another episode of the Type 1 Movement podcast. And in today's episode, we're going to be looking at 4 steps for fat loss for us as Type 1 diabetics. Before we do get into this, quite a controversial topic. I'm looking forward to this one. Before I do get into it, though, please leave me a rating and a review on the podcast app because it really does help me reach more Type 1 diabetics and positively impact our community. Don't run any paid advertising to this podcast, so just all off word of mouth. So I'd really appreciate that. Secondly, if you're watching it, listening to it, you don't watch a fucking podcast, no bed. Give it a screenshot or whatever device or platform you're listening to it on. Share it on your Instagram stories, on your Facebook stories, and tag me so I can reach out and say thank you very much. So, right. Fat loss as a Type 1 diabetic. Guys watching on the live, stick me in the comments if you're wanting to drop some body fat as a Type 1. I think we all have wanted to. And we understand that, take Type 1 diabetes out of the equation, dropping body fat it's easier said than done. It's challenging. I'm not the sort of person that lies to people and says it's really easy to improve your blood sugar control. It's really easy to drop body fat. The theory is easy and what to do is easy. It's the application. So hopefully I'm going to be able to deliver some valuable sort of applicationable, probably just made a fucking word there, don't give a shit, advice for you guys that you can actually take and you can apply. I can give it to you. The only thing that I can't do is make you implement it. So that's something that you're going to have to do. There's so many different podcasts we can speak about that. Yeah. So I've picked probably the 4 most crucial steps. And these are 4 steps that we focus on with our one-to-one clients that want to drop body fat. Yeah. Now, we're going to get straight into it. I'm also going to cover like insulin, fat loss, that sort of stuff. Probably going to get some haters on this going, I can't lose body fat because I take insulin. Fuck off, dickhead. Listen, because hopefully after this, you're hopefully going to understand that insulin does not cause fat gain. We'll get into that shortly. So we're going to dive straight in with the first point of call for us as Type 1 diabetics if we want to drop some body fat. And that is, let's get our blood glucose levels under control. Let's make the processing a little bit easier and give ourselves a fighting chance and get our blood sugar levels and diabetes under good management. Now, this doesn't mean that you need to get your blood sugar levels under good control before you can start to lose body fat. Both of these goals can run simultaneously and both will help one another out. If you're getting better control, losing body fat becomes much easier. Yeah. If you lose body fat, you might become more insulin sensitive, makes it easier to control our blood sugar levels. Get the point? So they can all run in tandem, all 4 of these points. You don't need to go one, then the other, right? So let's have a look at what is good control because not a lot of Type 1s know this. Yeah. Now, for me personally, and for us and for our clients and for our coaches, this is what we deem as good control. So we'd be looking at a weekly, 14 or 30-day average, around 6 to 7 moles or 108 to 126 milligram per deciliter. If you can get your average blood glucose around that, that's fucking sick, mate. That's great. That's good control. Yeah. As for time in target range, 70% or above. Awesome. That is really, really good control. Yeah. This is where we get all of our clients to. And especially not just wanting to lose body fat for health reasons and that as well. Let's be honest. Health might not be a massive driver, especially if you're young, but it's fucking important. Yeah. So this is what we deem as levels that are well controlled. And if you've not got that, you can fucking work towards it. It's not unattainable. And a lot of Type 1s will overcomplicate the process of getting good control. It's not that complicated. And I'm going to break it down now. There's 3 things we need to do. Test our basal rate or our long-lasting insulin. Test our insulin to carb ratio. And learn how to split or extend a bolus for high-fat, high-protein big meals. That's it. I know it's easier said than done. If you're not sure how to do this, we've got free trainings on all of these. DM me, let me know which training you want, and I'll give it you. So you can go and implement a basal rate test or a carb ratio test or split or extended bolusing. So this is the first point of call. Let's get our blood sugar levels under control and our diabetes in good management. This is really going to help the fat loss process. Because let me give you an example, and I can relate to this because, sorry, smashing my mic there. I can relate to this, and I bet you can as well when you're wanting to lose body fat. Excuse me. If your levels are up and down all the time, let's say you're spiking high, you're overcorrecting, you're having crap ton of hypos, you're having to treat the hypos, and it's knocking you out of that calorie deficit, which means that you ain't going to drop body fat, mate. If you're having too many hypos, you're eating too many calories, it's going to knock you out of that calorie deficit. Yeah. Pro tip for that is save 200 calories a day for hypo treatments if you're on a fat loss journey. But sort the hypos out. Look at where you need to decrease your insulin as well, because that's what hypos are coming from. Are you actually losing a little bit of weight, hit a plateau, need to decrease your basal rate? Are you overcorrecting your highs because you don't know your rates and ratios and you're going from high to low like a fucking roller coaster? It's your job to figure that out and stop these hypos to give yourself a fighting chance of staying in that deficit and losing body fat. So this is first point of call. Let's get our blood sugar levels under good control. Just told you what good control is. Get that. Fucking awesome. Great work. Second step is our nutrition. Now, if you take nothing else from this, take this. Even though we are type 1 diabetics, we still need a calorie deficit to drop body fat. Just because we're type 1 diabetics doesn't mean that we break the laws of thermogenics and, calorie deficits don't apply to us and all that. Like, they do. That's the only way to drop body fat. So if you're not dropping body fat, chances are you're not in a calorie deficit, or you thought you was, but you're having too many lows, you're eating too many hypo treatments, you're raiding the fucking cupboards, and now you're in a caloric surplus. So you're probably gaining weight. And you're one of these that comes around and said, it's insulin. Insulin means I can't lose fat. It's not. Yeah. So we need to create a calorie deficit. This means burning more calories than we consume on a daily basis. Now, let me give you an example on this. Let's say I can maintain my current body weight on 2,000 calories. If I eat 1,500 calories, there's a 500 calorie discrepancy that my body needs to find from somewhere. So it's going to find that from body fat, sometimes muscle, but this is why we need to eat enough protein. That's another podcast for another fucking day. Yeah. So that'll be me in a calorie deficit. That's the only way to lose body fat, right? So there's so many calorie calculators online. You can go in, you can stick male, female, height, weight, activity levels, goals, and it will spit you out a rough estimate daily calorie intake that you can try, monitor your weight and adjust it. There's a lot. You don't need to pay some fucker to set you in a calorie deficit. Yeah, you can do it yourself on the internet and just be consistent with it and adjust it. If you're not losing, take some off. You're gaining, take some off. Yeah, you're losing at a decent rate, stick with it. It's the right amount of calories. That's it. So that's the nutrition. This is where I'm going to cover what insulin does. So for anyone who thinks they can't lose body fat because insulin is causing weight gain, fat gain, no, this is the sort of shit that's causing diabulimia and people to be scared of taking insulin because they think it's making them fat. And this is not fucking okay at all. And this is serious. When I put posts out about insulin not causing weight gain, I get some fucking bellends, and I'm straight to the point. You must follow me for a bit. I'm right in there. Don't give a fuck. You don't like me. Don't follow me. Don't watch my shit. Simple as that. I get people commenting on it saying, I can't lose weight. Insulin causes weight gain. You don't know what you're talking about. Insulin causes weight gain. I won't even argue. I'm like, dickhead, fuck off, you blocked. Because that is not correct. This proves that these people do not understand what insulin does. Insulin is a very anabolic hormone. It's a transporter hormone. Now, let me explain to you in simple terms. There's a lot more science that goes into it than this. But I'm going to explain this to you. Let's say we have a little car park space. Me and my clients love to explain it like this. We've got a little car park space and it can fill 2,000 calories in for me to maintain my weight. And when we're eating, insulin is helping all these sort of calories and nutrients and glucose and all that through the bloodstream into this little car park space, right? And it's helping. This is like the key. Insulin's the key. But all of us type 1's a bit of that, right? To let glucose and nutrients into our cells. Yeah. Dead simplified terms. Stick with me on this. So we're eating 2,000 calories, going through our body. Insulin opens it up. There you go. Go into that car park space, that cell, mate. Stay there. So then we eat 2,500 calories. Insulin comes on, does its job. There you go. Oh, I've got an extra 500 calories here, mate. What am I going to do with it? It goes and stores it in fat cells. Now, whose fault's that? Is it the insulin for doing its fucking job? Or is it the fact that this person has eaten over their daily calorie allowance? They've eaten 500 calories more. So they're going to gain weight. So whose fault is it? Is it insulin doing its job? Or is it the fact that that person's fucking ate too much and then they're moaning it's the insulin's fault? It's not. This is one thing that pisses me off with humans. They won't take ownership on themselves and they'll pass it on to something else all the time. And that's not a good trait to have, mate. Yeah. So understand it's not the insulin that is causing fat gain. Yeah. It's the person for eating too many calories. Let me give you another example. Let's say I'm to eat in a calorie deficit, 1,500 calories. Just throwing this number, straight numbers, simple to work with. And I get all those calories from carbohydrates. I would still lose body fat if I'm in a deficit. Now, let's say for argument's sake, those I'm not throwing exact numbers, but it's 1,500 calories. Let's say it's 400 grams of carbs. I'm a 1 to 10. That means I'm putting, let's say, 40 units of insulin in a day, maybe a little bit more if I'm having a few eyes in that. So let's say 45 on this. Yeah, 45 units of insulin. I'm in a calorie deficit. I'm still losing body fat. Now, let's say I proportion my calories out between my macros and I only eat 200 calories of carbs. I eat some fats and some proteins, but I'm still in a calorie deficit. On average, that might be from a 1 to 10, 20 units of insulin. Let's call it 25, correcting a few eyes, what have you. That person on both of these scenarios, I would still drop body fat. But on the one with all the carbs, I mean, giving more insulin. So it's not the insulin, it's down to calories. And this is something that people need to understand. Yeah. Insulin's a transporter hormone. If you eat too many calories, insulin's got to take those calories somewhere, so it takes it to fat. It's not insulin's fault, mate. It's fucking our fault for eating too much. And I know someone's going to come out and bash me as well now for saying, you don't know what you're on about. Insulin causes fat gain, blah, blah, blah. Mate, I wouldn't be doing this and be very successful at it and helping type 1s control the bloods and lose body fat if I didn't know what I was talking about, mate. And you're probably just some fucking random on the internet who knows fuck all about it, but you've read at a fucking diet club or slimming world or what have you. Insulin causes weight gain. Yeah. And I know I ramble on about this, but it's because I don't like the side effects of people getting diabulimia and being scared to take insulin. It's not good. So understand insulin's not causing fat gain. Yeah. I wanted to cover that on the nutrition side because it's about a calorie deficit. Yeah. So we've got step number 1, back on track. Sorry for the rant, but I think it needs to be said. Step number 1, get our blood sugar levels under control. Step number 2, sort our nutrition out. Let's eat in a calorie deficit. Yeah. If you don't know what that is, use a calorie calculator online. It will get you in the ballpark. Step number 3 is our activity levels. Now, personally, for me and with clients, we like to go a few ways here. We like to get our steps in each day around 10,000, but there's a sideline to that. If you're sat on your ass quite a lot and you only get to, let's say, 2,000, 3,000 steps a day, don't try and get 10,000 because there's a big margin. And if you don't do it, you're going to think that you're never going to do it. You're going to feel like a failure and you're going to quit. So probably if you're getting 2, aim for 4. Then can we get 6? Can we get 8? Can we then get 10? When it becomes a bit more habitual, you've got a bit more of a routine. When we're setting goals, gang, we can't set something so big that when we don't hit it, we feel like shit. All right, you can set something big, but then you've got to break it up into smaller chunks. So it's like, right, eventually I want to get 10,000 steps in. I'm on 2,000 a day. Can I get 4,000 or 3,000? What? Yeah, I can get that. Fucking great. Let's get that consistently. Can we increase it a bit more? Yeah, we can. Before you know it, you're going to be at 10,000. That's how achieving any goal goes. Small steps. Yeah. Steps. 10,000. Yeah. The other side to that is, I'm a big advocate on strength training, gym training, especially when we're in a deficit, because give me a silent head nod if you've ever heard of the phrase skinny fat. Like someone's skinny, but when they don't look good naked at the end of the day, the skinny fat, they've got no muscular definition. This usually comes from someone who has lost weight, fat and muscle from being in a calorie deficit, but not doing any strength or resistance training. So they've lost the muscle because they've not been challenging it. And they've probably not eaten enough protein as well. So I'm a big advocate on strength training in the gym or the kettlebell or dumbbells at home. If you can do that 3 times a week, buzzing. You want to throw some cycling, some running in there, what have you, swimming, hiking, whatever your forte is, whatever you enjoy, cool. But I would try and get them as a minimum. Daily walks, increasing your steps, and 3 strength workouts a week, whether that's at gym or home or classes, whatever it is. Yeah. So that's step number 3. Step number 4, probably one of the most important ones. is you need to be consistent with it, mate. And I'll be honest with you. You can't just do all this. Right, I've listened to this podcast of Tom. Fucking love it. The guy's sick. He's amazing. Thank you. I know. Cheers. And he's really motivated me. I want to lose some body fat. I'm going to get my bloods under control. I know about a calorie deficit now. I know insulin doesn't cause fat gain. Understand it. So I'm going to sort my nutrition out as well. I'm going to start walking. I might start working out. And then you do that for 2 or 3 weeks. You don't get the results that you want, so you quit. This is you being inconsistent. And if you're inconsistent, you will never get the results that you desire. You need to understand that you need to be consistent, and achieving goals and progress isn't linear, which means it's not a straight line up. You're going to make some progress, you're going to fall down. You're going to make some progress, you're going to go backwards a little bit. You're going to make some progress. But if you zoom out and over a long enough period of time, you'll eventually see that you're miles ahead from where you started 3, 4, 5, 6 months ago, because you have been consistent. Your head's not fallen off when you've had a high or a low and you think you're a failure. You've not lost. You've gained a couple of pounds this week. You've not lost. You quit. You break a nail. You have a fucking takeout. Come on, mate. We're adults. Yeah. Keep going. Keep doing this stuff. These 4 steps. Be consistent with it, because you will see results. Yeah. Consistency is the key. You're going to have times where you get stressed out. It's normal. I get stressed out of shit. Our clients do. It's normal. You're going to have times where you fall off the wagon, so to speak. But the key there is, how fast can you pick yourself up, understand why you fell off, what knocked you off track, what wobbled you a little bit, and then get back on it. That's it. Yeah. So they are the 4 main steps for fat loss for us as type 1 diabetics. Let's get our bloods under control, step 1. Do all these together as well. You don't need to wait until your blood's under control and then start trying to lose fat. They work hand in hand. Step 2, let's sort our nutrition out and create that calorie deficit. Make sure we're eating enough protein as well. And understand that insulin's not the reason for fat gain. Calories is. Let's not put it onto that anymore. Anyone who watches this, listen to this, please, mate. And if you're one of these little know-it-all keyboard warriors and you start giving me shit, you're going to get blocked. Simple as that. Don't argue. I ain't got the time for keyboard warriors. I'm here to educate and help people. Yeah. Third one is our activity levels, our steps. Let's throw some strength training in there as well if you can. Kettlebell, dumbbells, if you don't like a gym, do it at home. Or even body weight. If you're quite a large overweight person, moving your own body weight can be a form of strength training. So you get light and you get sick and in shape, and then you're going to have to buy a kettlebell and some dumbbells because you're just a fucking warrior, a god. Yeah. So our activity levels. And step number 4 is be consistent. Just because you don't see results in a couple of weeks, or you go backwards and you don't go the way that you want, doesn't mean you need to stop, else you'll always stay in the same place. Give your fucking head a wobble. Understand that you can do it. It just takes consistency and some dedication. Team, that is it. If you got value from this episode, please leave me a rating and a review, like I said at the start, in the podcast app. Yeah. If you want more help with this, feel free to reach out and drop me a DM. Drop me a DM and say fat loss, and I know where you've come from. And we'll have a chat. Yeah. And see if we can help you. Team, that is it. Thank you very much. Until the next episode, have the best day ever. Peace. Let me hit that recording off. I'm happy that we got through a fucking full episode. Right, guys, I'm going to stay on for a couple of minutes just in case anyone does have any questions. If you guys are watching this on the replay, then I will respond. And you ask a question, I'll respond to that. Someone's asked on YouTube, why is it when I go super low carb seems like I'll lose fat? Because carbs are calories, so you're creating a calorie deficit. This is a good question, actually. Great question. So what we need to understand is that calories are made up from carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. If we cut one of their macronutrients, right? Macronutrients, carbs, fats, and proteins. If we cut one of those food groups out or narrow it down a lot, carbs, for example, could happen with fat, could happen with protein, we eat less calories. So we probably we do create a calorie deficit, so we drop body fat. So it's not down to the carbs, it's down to the calories. Yeah. So that's why if you ever go low carb, and at the start, carbs make you hold water, so you piss a lot and you're like, oh man, yeah, I'm losing weight. Look at this. But it's just water weight. You need to be consistent with it. Yeah. That's why when we tend to drop some carbs, we drop calories, we piss a lot of the water out, we're lighter, and we start to drop body fat. But you could do it. Well, it's all down to calories and how that person wants to proposition the calories at the end of the day. Yeah. Do people like a lower carb diet and like to up the fats a little bit? Protein always stays the same regardless. Yeah. But some people really like a low carb diet and they like to eat more fats. Cool. If you enjoy that, works for you. For me personally, I enjoy cycling, all that sort of stuff. So I eat quite a high carb diet and a moderate fat. I prefer that, but it's down to the person. It's down to the individual as well. What you feel that you can stick to and be consistent with at the end of the day. Like step number 4 on this. Cool. Right, I'm going to have a quick look through you guys on Instagram, see if we had any questions. We got a few thumbs up. Thank you, gang. Appreciate that. Lynn, I'm type 2, but on insulin. Find your post so interesting. Thank you. Thank you so much for your comment. And I'm glad that you find them interesting. You get some value from them. Cool. Right, let's call it there then. If no one's got any questions, thank you ever so kindly. If that's probably the nicest thing that I've ever said to anyone. Because I'm a bit of a twat. I'm not. I'm just straight to the point. Thank you ever so kindly, team, for jumping on, for listening. Hopefully you guys got some value from this. You got a little bit of motivation to help you on your journey to dropping body fat as a type 1. Hopefully you now understand that insulin is not the cause of fat gain or someone not being able to lose fat. That is something that's pretty close to my heart because I speak to hundreds of type 1s every day, and we have some come within our program that have really suffered hard with diabulimia. You might be listening to this, watching this, and you have. And it really upsets me because a lot of it's down to social media and what people are saying. Insulin causes weight gain. And I'm going to throw an example out. A young girl sees it. She's wanting to get in shape. She stops taking her insulin. She gets a mental blockage towards it, and then she's having to see counselors and psychiatrists. Like, it's not good as well. So if, as a community, we can help people like that by giving them the right information, then that's something that I'm going to do at the end of the day. And I think you guys should. I think it's our fucking job to do it as well. That's why I went in pretty harsh on that. Yeah. Cool. Right. Let's call it there, team. Thank you very much for watching and listening. Enjoy the rest of your day, evening, whatever you're doing. And I'll catch you all in the next live. Peace.